Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gus. No, wrong show. Wrong show. Hello, honorable members of the clan. So let's go back to the Nauhauteng High Court after the short adjournment that almost became a long adjournment that caught in time. They are not friends. But anyways, guys, I just want to focus on something. I'm not gonna go on the everything that took place within this hour that they returned in court. I want to talk about almost the last part of the cross-examination from Advocate Timnisi to the investigating officer, which is Brigadier Gininda, where they are in the red gulf between him and accused number one, who was a suspect back then. Now, in a trial within a trial, I noticed that, okay, before we get to the trial within a trial, I've noticed that every time when Mr. Mnisi asks Mr. Gininda a question, he always says, but I've already said this already. And I noticed one thing why he says that. He usually says that because he will not remember the lie, in my opinion, that he had told before. And so he would just listen and spot something in the question and say, but I already covered this. That, for example, he said in a trial within a trial. And then Mr. Mnisi had to remind him that during the trial within a trial, Mr. Mnisi was not the legal representative of accused number one. So now that I am the representative of accused number one, I am asking this question. And so he was a little bit now, you could tell that, oh my goodness, what lie did I tell in the trial within a trial? I think that is what he's trying to control and also manipulate the court to tell Mr. Mnisi to move on because this was already canvassed. Ask a different question so that there's progress in this matter. So I've noticed that is the reason he's trying to manipulate the situation, the court, as well as the cross-examiner, because he doesn't remember what he may have said in the past. And I caught him. He said, when accused number one, remember accused number one, he was arrested for white powder and unlicensed gun and ammunition, right? And then while they were busy having the procedure in arresting him, out of the blue, accused number one, at the time, the suspect had a conscience developing and said, oh, I also want to say something regarding the my involvement in the Senzo Meyiwa unaliving in 2014. Number one, that doesn't make sense. You've gotten away with it for 6 years, right? For 6 years. And now you are caught for something that will take you to jail for 5 years. Like he did eventually, got convicted for 5 years for that case that they arrested him initially for. But you also opt for another 20 years, 25 years, or even whatever years that are going to be added because you developed a conscience. I don't believe that. Now, forget me and my believing. Let's go back to the trial within the trial when this very witness was on the stand. He said, if I remember correctly, that he got a call from Sergeant Mohola, who said the suspect that we have for the white powder, unlicensed gun and ammunition is making a confession regarding the unaliving of Senzo Meyiwa. And because Sergeant Muhola cannot take confessions because she is not allowed by law, so he is the one who's going to come to where they are in Fosloras, right? Well, it turns out it is Fosloras, not in air quotes. They were in Fosloras, but in the car park. And the reason why, what his name, Muzi Sibiya said, I was sitting down because he had messed himself, remember, early in the day. And secondly, he was also beaten up. So there's no way they will put him in the car. Yes, they are denying that there was torture. Yes, they are denying that they did things to him. But Muzi Sibiya, the person that experienced all of that, was sitting on the floor. And that is why I don't believe, because if you ask anybody, you can ask somebody that you know in your family or in the neighborhood who has served a sentence. Ask them if what Gininda is saying in court right now, they do. For example, showing their appointment cards. 2, They read you your rights. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you in the court of law type of situation. Because if you go, I mean, this is something that I've also did test myself, like with some people that I know, because I do have police officers in my family too. And then I went to some of the others and said, what is the right that you guys read out? Do you read it out? Do you tell this person out? The answer is nobody got time for that. Nobody got time for that. They take you without showing you some. I mean, we've even been stopped before in stop and goes where SAPS are doing stop and goes. Have you ever seen even their badge? And when they're supposed to have their badge on, and most of them don't even know the rights. They don't know the rights. So it is. I don't believe that he did show him his appointment card. I don't believe he read him his right or told him his right that he has the right to remain silent, and anything he's gonna say will be used against him. And also, I don't believe they were seated in the red golf. I think Mr. Sibiya, because he had messed himself during the day, he was seated outside on the floor. And I do believe in the white BMW that Gininda came with. Now suddenly it's his personal car because of convenience. It's all this convenience that I was using my own personal car to go do a government duty. That doesn't make sense. So now let's talk about this part where he says, I'm not a doctor. Now, how did you then continue with the suspect just simply because the suspect is telling you that, oh no, I'm of sound mind. And two, I've not taken any substances that I'm influenced under for me to make this kind of a confession. And then you, as a non doctor, you say, okay, cool, let's legitimize this thing and then let's proceed. Because if you really want this matter to be concluded with a guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you would have taken the suspect to a psychologist. Have him have a mental evaluation because what he is doing does not make sense. It just does not make sense. Who just walks up and say, hey, I am here to confess, unless the police are saying we are hunting you down and we know your name, like in Olerato's matter. They knew who the suspects were. And the suspects were running like headless chickens, except for Ufezile Ngubane, who now we know is innocent. So now nobody knew who these faces were. And then suddenly, out of the blue, they're arresting you for white powder, ammunition, and unlicensed gun. And then now you come up with a big bombshell. Something isn't right. So therefore, to make sure that you are not going to pin this matter on a mentally unstable person, let's take the person to the psychologist. Isn't that what the law does? It looks at your mind first. Are you in a good state of mind? And then you don't just take the word for it, because there have been scenarios before where a person, for example, somebody is struggling. I mean, they have two adults paying bills, paying for rent, buying food, clothes, and etc. and so on. And the only way out is one of two: unalive myself, or I just go commit a crime that I know is going to throw me in jail. In jail, I don't have to pay no rent. I don't have to do this. I have no responsibilities. I am fed 3 times a day, and etc. and so on. And then when I am released, I do it again so that I avoid responsibilities that comes with being an adult. Other scenarios, we've had people who just make confessions for attention sometimes. And all of these people, when you put them under psychological scrutiny, it turns out they're fine and they've never done this crime before. So now Gininda, because he is so desperate in making sure that this matter is pinned on Muzi Sibiya, he says, yeah, he's sound mind, let's go for it. Let's go for it. So he's the one who dug himself that hole where now Mr. Mnis is sitting on his neck and pressing hard about him being not a what do you call this? A medical practitioner. And yet he made a whole determination that Muzi Sibiya was of sound mind. It doesn't make sense at all. My other, yeah, also toxicology. Part of the questions as well is that, did you take any substances that are influencing you to say what you are saying? And Muzi Sibiya said no. Toxicology. Why didn't you take him to a toxicologist so that the toxicology can come back with the blood saying negative or positive for any substances? But no, you, a non-doctor, made a determination that you are going to continue with the confession. You are showing your desperation, sir, and you are showing that this whole matter does not belong to Muzi Sibiya. Amongst the people that were sent to me on the 26th of October 2014, one of them pulled the trigger. And all of them that were there know the truth. So there we go. The other thing that I also written down was okay, I've already covered that. Gininda indicating that he's already covered. Okay, I've covered that as well. Gininda brings his feelings. Yeah, that's another thing that I also noticed about Gininda. He seems to think he has some power in that courtroom where he says, I am avoiding. No, you are asked a question and therefore needs to be answered by you, because your duty, being a witness in that courtroom, is to assist the court, not to come with your demands and feelings and choices as well, to say what you are going to avoid and what you are not going to avoid, because that is giving away a lot as well about the nature of this particular witness, that we cannot trust you because you pick and choose what can be asked of you and what cannot be asked of you. Whether the question was asked before, yours is to repeat the answer, to show consistency and knowledge about this matter that you were investigating. So avoiding this and avoiding that, it's not helping the state in any way, in my opinion. So it's quite very interesting what we were hearing in that courtroom. And basically, that is what I wanted to cover in this video. Like, I thought that was very important, because how do you admit that you are not a doctor, but you made a determination that this suspect is in full faculties and he is able to confess what he had come to confess under duress? Or which is other point as well. The other way of making a confession is under duress. Like he says, I was tortured. In other ways as well of making a false confession is when the real perpetrator threatens you to make the confession that you're the one who did it, so that they evade the law and then you put yourself in trouble. There are so many things that could make a person confess when they actually did not do the crime. And that is why you need to have them evaluated mentally in order to be sure that you have the right person. And then the other thing that keeps bothering me, Kanti, what is the purpose of our police stations? Don't our police stations equipped with interrogation rooms? Why the questioning and taking of confessions and all this stuff have to be done in a car park? In Zulu, we say, "Edlangalaleni." Why you have to go Edlangalaleni to do police work when the Red Golf should have driven? They were right there at the police station. Gininda says it himself. They were at the police station car park. Why couldn't they go inside and have cameras and all of these things to prove indeed that this is what was said? That also includes his rights being read to him. That also includes his appointment card shown to the suspect. This is too convenient for me. And what are the lawmakers saying about this? That police officers, they can do their jobs instead of taking the suspect to a designated and mandated establishment like a police station and interrogate or question the suspect. It doesn't make sense to me. All of this just does not make sense to me, unfortunately. But anyways, these are my opinions, guys. You can also state your own opinions regarding what you heard on the stand during this time. They are on a long adjournment. They'll be back at 2 o'clock. And I'll be back with whatever I am picking up that is not making sense. And we need to talk about it, like in this matter where Gininda says he's not a medical practitioner. And yet, he has now on in the dock a accused in accused number one. Where's the medical report then? I want to know. Anyways, please don't leave the video without liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And thank you so much for the super thanks as well. I appreciate y'all because this does take time. It really does. And I appreciate the encouragement with them super thanks because it does support the channel financially. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.